Alright, it's Henry again, and this is my review of the 1:144 scale high-grade Universal Century Unicorn Gundam Unit 2 Banshee. That's quite a long title. But anyway, this is the Destroy Mode version of the kit. I didn't really bother getting Unicorn Mode, just because, well, I think me and everyone else thinks that Destroy Mode just looks cooler. Anyway, this is quite the highly anticipated release for a lot of people. Banshee's always been popular, and it's nice that we're finally getting a actual model kit of it from Bandai rather than having to rely on scratch builds and conversion kits. So anyway, this is what the kit's going to look like straight out of the box, completely unpainted. So you can see most of the outer armor is a dark blue. We got some straight black for the feet and the backpack. And then the Psycho Frame and the V-fin are in kind of a pearlized gold color. As you can see, it's actually quite nice. I'll be painting over it, unfortunately, but it actually does look kind of cool, I think. Now, as far as things you get in the box, you obviously get the high-grade Banshee. You get a set of foil stickers, which, you know, these are going to go on the shoulders, eyes, head cameras. I'll be on the forehead, and these will cover the various small little vents that are on the legs and skirt armor. You also get multiple sets of hands. You get one outstretched left hand. You get two gripping hands for the right and left. You get one trigger finger hand for the beam Magnum, and you get some other various parts as well. It should be noted that even though the instructions tell you these parts won't be used, this kit does contain all of the parts necessary to make the novel version of Banshee. So, if you really wanted to, you could have Banshee in its original version with the shield and beam Magnum and the normal collar. And of course, also, you get the ammo pack for the beam Magnum and the extra connector to connect the shield to the backpack. So, let's go ahead and get into articulation. Now, for the head, you've got a ball joint at the neck that's going to go up and down, side to side, rotate 360. Then you've got a hinge at the base of the neck, which will let that go up a bit further. For the torso, you've got a really long ball joint in here. Let me take this waist off and show you. It's a really long peg right there with a ball joint at the top. The lower torso is a completely separate piece, and then the socket is up inside the upper torso. And that's going to give you some forward and back, side to side, and 360 rotation. The backpack doesn't have any real articulation on it like the Master Grade did. For the shoulders, you've got, oops, I keep hitting this V-fin. For the shoulders, you've got a joint that goes up and down like that, and it can go forward and back a little bit, like so. Obviously 360 rotation. The arms can go out about that far, but you'll notice that this large weapon kind of hits onto the shoulder armor. Actually, it's not even that weapon, it's the beam saber right here. And then 360 below the shoulder. The elbows are going to bend a little bit more than 90 degrees, I meant to say. Certainly nowhere near 180. And you've got rotation at the elbows as well. Now the hands, those are just on ball joints and, you know, typical wiggle around 360. But you're not really going to be using the hands very much on this kit because of these large weapons on each arm. You've got a large claw weapon on the left arm, and unfortunately it doesn't have any articulation to it. These little claw thingies don't move at all, so it's just fixed pose. And likewise on the right arm, you've got this large fin funnel looking beam weapon, and again that's going to be fixed pose. It doesn't fold up like it will on the Master Grade. So moving down, you've got the front skirts, which are originally connected together and move as one piece. But just like on the high-grade Unicorn Gundam, you can easily clip those in half. And then each front skirt will be able to move individually. The side skirts are on a peg, so they can go up and down and back and forth a little bit. The back skirts are completely fixed pose. There's no movement in those at all. Now for the waist, you've got this rotating joint down here that are going to allow the hips to rotate back and forth slightly. It's kind of hard to do it and get it on camera, but there you go. You can see that little bit of rocking back and forth motion. And then each hip is on a ball joint, so it can go up pretty far. Can't go back very far because the back skirts don't move. And go out about like that. The knees are double jointed, and they're going to be able to bend about that far, a little, just barely over 90 degrees. So about the same as the OVA version of Unicorn Gundam, Master Grade. Anyway, nothing else on the back of the leg. This part doesn't move. None of this moves. Although this little ankle armor piece right here does move up and down. The ankles are on a single ball joint, so they can rock back and forth, forward and back, and rotate pretty much 360. The ankles have actually got really good mobility on this kit. So I think that just about does it for articulation. And now that we've done the majority of this review with the guy unpainted, let's go ahead and get him painted up and see what he looks like. Alright, after a few days of painting, the high-grade Banshee is finally complete. And I went with pretty much the standard colors. I just changed a few things up a little bit. The dark blue I used on the kit is actually looking on camera a lot darker than it really is. It actually almost looks like straight black, but it is a dark blue that I used. Maybe if you look at the feet you can see that a little bit better, because I did the bottom of the foot black and then you've got the dark blue up here, so you can see a little bit of that difference in the two shades right there. Anyway, as you can see, I used gold for the V-fin and the collar and the parts of the weapons on the arms. And I think it actually turned out pretty good. It's the usual gold that I use, basically just gold paint, then clear yellow on top of it. Had to do a little bit of hand brushing on the forehead, the little dark blue part right there up under the, right between the eyes right there. Had to paint that by hand. And then the gray down inside the collar, I had to paint that as well. Just would have been way too much trouble to mask, so I just painted it with a small paintbrush. And then, as you can see, the Psycho frame is fluorescent orange. And I used a brighter fluorescent orange than I usually use. I mixed, I think it was pretty much like 75% fluorescent yellow and then just 25% fluorescent orange. And I think it turned out really nice. It's much brighter than what I usually use. And then, of course, as you can see, the kit is plastered with decals. This kit does not come with any marking decals. It only comes with the foil stickers you saw earlier. And these I got from Samuel Decal. He has a set of 1:144 scale Banshee decals, and I think they actually turned out really nice. It's basically just the Verka decals all printed in white. And it took quite a while to apply them all. Just mainly because I didn't have any instructions for them. I had the Master Grade manual, and I was just, but the decals weren't like lettered and numbered like they are when you get a Bandai kit, so I had to look and see which decals looked similar to the ones that I was looking at in the instructions and try to find out which ones went where. And I think I got most of them on there. Some of them aren't on there. Some of them I just didn't bother putting on, like the decals on the beam sabers. Those little teeny tiny square decals that didn't have any writing. It was just a little square. I didn't bother with those, but there weren't too many of those anyway. But overall, I am pretty happy with the way it turned out. I think it looks fairly nice. So anyway, let's get into the weapons, which actually is going to be a pretty short segment. We've got this large beam weapon on the right arm. The manual calls it the Armed Armor BS. I'm not really sure what BS stands for, but that's what it's called. I'm assuming it's sort of like New Gundam's fin funnels. I mean, that's what it looks like, where it's going to create energy in between these two parts right here and then fire it out forwards. And then on the left arm, we've got this large melee weapon, very similar to Shenlong Gundam's Dragon Fang. It's called the Armed Armor VN. Again, I don't quite know what VN stands for, but this is basically a close combat, just kind of crushing weapon. It's going to use to grab onto other mobile suits. And just like the standard Unicorn Gundam, we have 4 beam sabers. We got 1 in each forearm, and then we've got 2 on the backpack. And unfortunately, just like the high-grade Unicorn Gundam in Destroy Mode, we don't get any blades for them, so all we have are the handles. But if you were to get some other high grades that came with blades, you could certainly use those. Now, again, like I mentioned earlier in the review, the instructions only tell you how to build this stuff right here, but this kit does come with pretty much a complete high-grade Unicorn Gundam. So you do get the shield, and it's exactly the same as Unicorn Gundam's, only in different colors. And it's got the little clip, so it's not going to be able to clip onto the arm with these weapons because they get in the way, but take those off and you'll be able to clip it onto the arm just fine. And likewise, you're also going to get the beam Magnum, and again, it's the same as with the high-grade Unicorn. Handle goes back and forth. That's the only moving part on it. The little ammo packs aren't removable on this version. And you get, let's see where to go. You get a trigger finger for the beam Magnum, and again, you're going to have to take this off to be able to use it. You get an extra ammo pack, or set of ammo packs, that are hollow on the back side. This is basically just good for clipping to the back skirts. And of course, you saw earlier, you get a extra left hand, and some additional parts for making the novel version, basically the original chest and the original parts that go around the wrist. And of course, how could I call myself a man if I didn't show it off under the blacklight? Got the Psycho Frame, fluorescent orange. Actually looks pretty nice. So, I guess that about covers everything for high-grade Universal Century Banshee. I was pretty satisfied with this kit. Then again, I pretty much knew what to expect since I had already built the high-grade Unicorn Gundam. But for anyone who either hasn't built the high-grade Unicorn, or if you really enjoyed high-grade Unicorn, then I definitely recommend this kit, because it's more or less the same thing, but you've got the cool Banshee color scheme, the really large gold V-fin, plus you get these extra weapons for the OVA version on the arms. Speaking of OVA version, I think that's another plus for this kit, is that you get the option to have Banshee in either OVA version or with the shield and beam Magnum, for the original novel version. So unlike the Master Grade, which isn't going to give you that option, you will be able to do that on the high grade. So I guess that about does it for the high grade Banshee review. And with that, I will see you guys next time.